Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Sorry. Today I'm going to be talking through something different again, trying to keep the variety going on the channel, which is one of these. Now, if you're wondering what this is, it kind of looks like a half magazine with a little tail on the end. This is actually an HPA adapter for a gas blowback Airsoft replica. So this is not real, YouTube, this is not real. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to turn one of these, which is used to power this replica over here, into this. And that means that I'm actually going to be able to use an air tank similar to this, kind of like a paintball air tank, HPA, high pressure air, and that is going to attach to this, which is going to allow me, instead of relying on the gas reservoir inside this, that I have an unlimited supply of air to cycle the actual mechanism or the action on the Airsoft replica. So this is from a company called Airtac. There are some companies that make different versions of these, or they make the same kind of product, but they're different companies making them. This is actually a UK company, and probably out of the ones that I've tried and out of the reviews that I've seen that other airsofters have done, I would say that this is probably the most liked brand generally, or kind of trusted brand. The actual website is Airtac Airtac.me. I'll put a link in below to this and to actually this specific adapter, which is the VFC M4 adapter. Now they do a whole load of different ones. I've got ones for my pistols, I've got ones for my Sega 12 shotgun, I've got ones for my SMG builds. Everything that I have which is gas blowback, I generally will buy one of these. Now what I've actually ended up doing recently is I've been playing more actually with these gas blowback mags. Now these have 30 round capacity, not a huge amount of gas in them, so they're a lot more realistic. But when you're playing on the airsoft field with someone who has a 200 round magazine and a battery that is powering it with unlimited amounts of trigger pulls, you can be very much overgunned, or you have something which is not necessarily going to perform in the volume space that a normal airsofter might be able to do. So this effectively allows me to still run it on gas, but this now allows me to use that gas tank which holds a lot of gas and put that all through here, and then also attach a magazine in the bottom. So I'll show you kind of the different types of magazines here that you can put into it. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to disassemble this in this video, take out, I believe it's just the, not the feed lips, because I have a new set of those, or I have a set they've provided, but actually just the gas router here, the feed lip, not feed lips, the gas router, which is kind of the rubber piece here, which is going to push the gas through and attach it here. And then we're going to test it at the end, make sure everything's working well. And if you guys have any questions, I'll try and deal with those in the comments below. But I realize it's something I do for a lot of my gas blowbacks, and it might be something that's of value to you guys, as well as kind of like a product review of this Airtac version. So this one takes M4 mid caps or high cap magazines, pretty much any one. This is the EPM1 mini. This is a regular EPM1. I use these in general because that actually sticks in the mag well, and I'll show you that in a second. I'll build it first and I'll show you that. But this will go into that, and so therefore you've actually got, I believe this is about 150 rounds. I've got a release right here. If I put this one on, it's going to give me like 250. But as you can imagine, when that is sticking out the bottom of the replica, you have a huge, unrealistic looking mag. So I don't like using those as much. But it basically allows me to take the capacity, instead of 30 rounds, up to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this apart, which is what you have to do. That is actually something that is different. I'm going to empty the gas quickly by just pressing this gas valve. You do not want to do this in your face. There's all the gas out, because obviously if I open this up, I open the gas chamber, that's all going to expand, or it's going to go everywhere, which is something I don't want. So I want to make sure there's no gas in this mag. This is the stock VFC one that comes with an actual VFC. This is actually an APFG Sig Spear LT, which I'm going to be using it on. This is actually my only current replica that uses the VFC gas mags, because it is technically built by VFC, but it is an APFG built replica. It's the only one that I currently have which takes those magazines, so that's the one I'm going to be building this for. But if I do get other VFC replicas that take those same mags, I can just take this adapter, stick it in any of those. Same, I've got these for my Tokyo Marui MWSs. Same thing, I literally will put them in there. I've got a couple of those that run the M4 MWS mags. I can basically take one adapter, use it for all of them, which is fantastic. Same with the air tank, same with the regulator, same with the gas line. So you buy one of these and you've got any of your replicas that you have, it's going to allow you therefore to turn them into an HPA machine. Now it's not going to be as responsive or as air efficient as a regular HPA is going to be. Obviously you're not really normally getting the gas blowback action from that, so it's not having to cycle the bolt fully through. I'll give you an explanation. So I'm just removing 2 of the screws here. This is the V3 or Gen 3 gas mag from VFC. And so it is apparently very, very good with the gas efficiency. So I've got 2 screws there that I've just taken out the top. I'm just holding this in place because sometimes, which I expect might be the case with this, there is a spring right here which is going to push up the BB follower, and that is probably going to try and push this away. We also have these red pieces here. That little switch does the dry fire action on, yep, and that is the case. So I'll show you quickly. The dry fire pieces, the red piece here, and the actual little switch have fallen out. And I'm going to clear this up a bit so it's easier for you guys to see. And then the BB follower and the spring have just kind of come out there. So I'm going to remove that out. I'm going to keep all my pieces over here. Put them over here so you guys can see. This is what the actual adapter came in, and there's some pieces in there I'll need in a second. But what I'm going to do is put that over there, and I am going to make sure I don't lose these pieces, which is a very important thing to think about and to do when you're doing this. So that is what the VFC mag looks like. One thing that I do need, and I think this is the only piece that I'm going to need, is this, which I've also dropped, which is just the gas router there. So what it means is that when the gas is released from the valve at the back, that is going to push the gas through here into the actual replica and cycle that bolt so that you're going to fire that BB. It says VMAG V2 is what it says on here. Try and get that for you there. VMAG V2. So that is the stock one. I've actually got some of the PMAG ones, but I actually like those more for this replica. So I thought if I'm going to take one apart, it's going to be the stock one that came with it, because just, I actually prefer using those other PMAGs. I want to keep as many of them together as possible. Now, one, I would say it is a disadvantage with Airtac, is generally, before actually what I needed to do was get the feeder, or not the feeder actually, it was the valve out the back of this magazine. So I'd have to get the fill valve, I'd have to get the valve knocker, and I'd have to take those out and put them into the replica. They're more recent ones. They've actually built these in. So as you can see, there's the valve knocker there, kind of those 2 pieces at the top. The fill valve you obviously don't need on this because you're not filling it. It's being filled with air through there. But normally you'd have to remove that to actually get the pieces out of the replica. So that's great that they've done that, but it does still mean that I have to take down a mag and effectively rule that mag out just to be able to get this piece. I think probably VFC will produce, or they do produce, something which is going to be, a replacement part for these. So I might look at that, and then I can just rebuild that mag very easily. But what this does is that is just sitting, I'll show you here. So that is the empty space there that we have. That is just sitting in here, and it sits in nicely, which is good. Just pops in. So that's the rubberized piece there where the gas is going to come out. And now what they actually do is they provide the feedlets. And so that again is something that we didn't have before. This is something that I love Airtac do, is they will actually test everything before they send it to you. I'm in the US, they're in the UK. So for me, it's a big thing because I don't want to have to send it back if there is an issue. I actually did have not an issue, but I only got none of the pins that actually were going to put it into attach these feed lips in about 5 days ago. Emailed them straight away being like, hey, have I got this right? Because it doesn't look like I have a pin here. They were like, oh, it may have fallen out. Even if you've lost it, we will send you new pins now. So they literally sent it to me within 2 days. It was pretty fantastic. They're great to deal with as a company. So on that regard, Airtac, fantastic. The cost though obviously is this, which is $169 for the US, so it's expensive, and obviously like if you're wanting to use your replica as a HPA adapted replica the entire time, it's 100% worth it, but it definitely is an extra cost, and this is also another $60. So really you're looking at like $220, $240 to do this. I think in the UK these are about £130. But obviously, you know, being in the US, they are going to, with exchange rate and shipping, etc., they're going to be more. So it is going to cost quite a bit to do it. Some of the other companies, there's like TAP, I think Primary Airsoft. If you want to know those ones as well, go below. TAP do tend to be cheaper, and they do tend to send it to you fully built. There is no kind of like bit where I'm having to do this now to actually change it at all. So that might be something that you prefer to do, and obviously it is more affordable. They've sent me a couple of different feed lips here. I'll show you what they've done here. So they sent me these extra pins and screws. So those are pins and screws that I'm going to put in, and they put a couple of sets of feed lips in here. They're the same, I believe. So I'm not going to have to do anything with those. That is literally, I think it's their 3D printing, but it's one of those kind of new design 3D prints that tends to do very well. Obviously the pin's going to go in the back there. I've got 2 screw holes here where I'm going to put the screws in, and this is going to sit just here in this little gap. So I just need to make sure I line that up and make sure that's going to sit properly, which it is there. So that is looking pretty good right there. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put this pin, which they've given me, in here. I do have some other pieces and some knockers, but I'm hoping that I don't necessarily need to use that. It is just a straight pin that's going to go through. Might just get out my hammer quickly just to make sure I've got that working. Soft end, little resin there just to make sure I don't damage anything. That is going to knock through here. Okay, so that's sitting flush on that side, which is great. All right, just give it a little bit more. Give it a little push with my little pin on this one. So these are just the actual little knocking pins there. So you can just remove screws normally is what I'm going to do. So that's sitting perfectly, that little pin right in there, and that's not going to scratch. Obviously you need to make sure that that's flush because that is going into the mag well. You're going to have an issue if that is catching. It's not going to go in properly and it's not going to sit right. And then I've got 2 of these little screws right here. They actually sent me double what I need, which is great. But obviously I am going to just test this when we are finished with it to make sure that everything is working perfectly. I'm going to put that away there. I will rebuild this mag after the video. I don't want to waste your guys' time showing you that. But if that is something you'd like to see, definitely let me know that as well. I'm going to just change this out. Where is my... I've got this screwdriver I'm obsessed with. I'm just going to get... this, no, too small. And so I've done quite a few of these guys, but they do vary. Like they are different depending on the ones that I've done. Okay, that's working well. So they do vary, obviously from company to company. Airtac, I believe, also have started doing a lot of adapters now. So it's almost like you can take one base that would work on a few of your different replicas and kind of just have an attachment that sits in the different mag wells, which I think is a really clever idea, especially for the cost of what they can cost to build. So that is sitting there nicely. And then I'm going to take the other screw. I'm going to sit this here. And I am going to put this in here, right, like that. So this has taken me, probably shows on the video that it's taken a lot longer just because I talk so much, but this has not taken me very long at all. And I'm hoping that this works and that I've done it correctly. They do have some videos on their site which will take you through different builds. I don't think they actually have one right now for the VFC. So hopefully if you guys have searched this and you're trying to find it, that is there. So that is what it's going to look like, guys. Obviously, you've got that extended area below the magwell. You have the piece that's going to come out here. And what I'm going to do, and I'll test this in a second, but the reason I use these small ones is because when it goes in, it is longer than it would normally be, but I can carry quite a few of these, and that is kind of the length it's going to be. I'll show you that in comparison. These are one of my PMags. So that is the length there compared to that there. So that's the normal length, and you can see that's probably the additional is like an extra inch kind of below it. So I don't mind it, especially if I'm playing it in longer games. This is going to be game dependent. Obviously, if it's a mil sim, I'm not going to do that. But this, I don't find it gets in the way. It's not annoying. It gives me, mags that are going to hold 150 rounds instead of your 30. And it means that I don't have to worry about carrying gas, reloading, anything like that. That is what it looks like with the normal length M4 mag on it. So let's look at that compared. Again, YouTube, none of this is real. I'm not modifying or altering the actual replica. So that's, 2-3 inches that you're getting on the end there. I think that this looks very cool. I think it looks good, but, not as cool with the mini mag in it, but I kind of think that looks ridiculous. I don't know if you guys agree, but for me, it's not the coolest thing to see. So I'm going to put this to one side, and I will put this away as well, try and get rid of some of the stuff here so you guys aren't freaking out if you have OCD. Right, so I'm going to put these over here and then this over here. And what I'm going to do now is I am going to test it with the actual airline. And after I've done that, I'm going to test it in the actual replica and see if it cycles. So this is another thing actually just to mention. You can get these on Amazon. They're called on Amazon. They're called valve keys. They basically allow me on this to, I can for instance stick this into here and I can rotate, and that is like a screw inside. It'll allow me to take that out if I want to change an O-ring. Same thing with this valve knocker. You can see it's got two little indents there. I can just put that in there, start to rotate it. I can remove that. So with the previous builds that I've done with Airtac, if I had to take the valve knocker out, I would have removed that and then put it in to the actual adapter. I haven't had to do that on this. So they've obviously got their built-in one that's already there. So that's another thing that could go wrong, which hasn't, which I quite like. So what I'm going to do, guys, quickly, this is my air tank. This is a 4500. Yeah, 4500 PSI, 68 in terms of volume, cubic inch. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to attach this. And that's got an air seal, so there is no air coming out there. I'm not going to push the valve, which I could do just to expel gas. You can hear here. That's where it's going to come off. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm actually just going to put this into here. And I'm going to attach this onto here. This can be quite finicky if I don't have this. I normally have this in a backpack or something on my plate carrier. Hold on. There we go. That's attached. And sometimes, so this is, I've actually got this at 120 PSI. That should be fine for this. You don't really want to have it too high. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rack the action, and the one thing that this will not allow you to have now is the bolt stop. Now, obviously, it's not really got a BB follower. This is just going to push BBs up until they no longer are there. So you're not going to get the bolt stop function. I don't think that's that important when you've got a line sticking out. They've put the line in a place where it's actually kind of out the way of your hand. And normally I have this into my cummerbund here of my plate carrier with the actual tank in the back. But let's see if this actually cycles. So that's great. That's working well. I would actually probably increase the PSI on that because it sounds a little bit sluggish. But that will go and go and go. The other thing with the HPA Air is it's not cold like the gas is in terms of liquid form that you have with green gas. So it's not going to cool the replica to a point where it's not able to consistently fire. It's going to be the same amount of gas. It's going to be more consistent FPS. Obviously, you've got this big tank attached to you, which is the downside, but it's still something that is an advantage just in terms of performance. The other thing as well is you can vary the actual gas. So if you want higher FPS, you could turn that gas up and therefore get it cycling harder. You can have more actual FPS out of the barrel. You can reduce it if you want to play indoors. A lot of indoors places don't like HPA now though. So that's what it would look like. And instead of pushing the mag release there, I just need to do it with my thumb just on this catch. So that's great, guys. That shows you that this thing is working well. Again, I really like Airtac as a company. I think they're great. I think their product's great. I think it does exactly what it's supposed to. So if you guys are thinking about Airtac, is that the right HPA adapter? If you're definitely getting one, then I would definitely get that for sure. Obviously, it is expensive. So I just wanted to show you, here's another one, guys, that I have. This one's actually for my MPX, again APFG, so it's the same company as this one. They make these, I think this is slightly less expensive, but still like $140. This was perfect. I had to do the same thing, just remove the gas router from a regular MPX mag. So this is the regular MPX mag. Again, you know, it's like $40-50, so I had to get rid of that. In terms of the size, this is actually slightly shorter because I use mini MP5 mags. You could obviously use a full-length MP5 mag, but you are going to have more length on it. Again, I'll show you what that looks like just with that. But these hold about 150, 120 rounds, I think, which is kind of great because I just have 120 rounds. I have unlimited gas, and I can just carry a ton of these. I double stack them in my M4 mag pouches. But these, you know, they literally will just go in. I'll show you what it looks like just in the MPX, which I have here. Here's my beautiful MPX APFG. These two right now are my favorite, I have to say. So this they built really well, where actually it fits perfectly into the magwell. So you can see there, like, it basically just sits inside it. So the only thing you can tell is the line here and then a slight edge of what that is. That is the release right here. So I show you here, I just push this with my thumb and that pops the actual mag out. Just sitting it in is just a push. And actually this has been a little bit, I just need to kind of file that in slightly. But I think for that, in terms of how it looks, it's probably almost identical. You know, like that's what it normally looks like, probably a bit longer. That's what it looks like with that in there. So I think this is fantastic. I'll show you guys quickly what this does with the actual line. Same thing. Again, it's kind of, you could run an adapter, multiple lines on here. I'm going to try and put this down. That is one annoying thing when you're on the field, is getting tank lines in and out. I hate it. Okay, so that is that one there. I'm going to just do a little rack of the super. So I would actually run this probably on that 120 PSI. I may well run that other one slightly higher, just because it's got a heavier bolt and this one's super snappy and light, but that's what it looks like. So I've got HPA in my MPX with that tiny little adapter. I can pop it out at any time, very, very easy. So yeah, so that is me, guys, building out an HPA adapter from Airtac. As I said, this is the VFC and the APFG actual adapters that they make. They make a ton of different ones, so go and check out what they do on their website. I will put a link down below to their site so you can go and check it out. But as I said, it's another product, guys, that I really would recommend, or it's something I'd be happy to, you know, if you said to me, would you buy it again? 100% I would. Tank is going to be about $120, $30. This is going to be 30 to 50, and this line's probably going to be 30. So it adds up, but also you're not having to buy tons and tons of gas mags, which are going to falter. You know, the O-rings are going to go. You've got 4,500 PSI right there. Instead of, I've only got 2,000 left in there. Normally that tank will last me probably a day, depending on how much I'm using it. You are cycling more through and you have not got the lubrication of green gas. So you need to make sure that you are lubricating, you're putting silicone, etc. into the actual gun, which you wouldn't have to do as much with green gas. Make sure you clean it out because you are going to be putting a lot of air through it if you're using it like an AEG player would use it. But for me, it's amazing. You know, like you have the recoil of a gas blowback with the functionality and performance of like an AEG, if not, could be better. Anyway, guys, that is me for today. I hope you guys found this interesting. I hope it didn't go on too long. I'd love to know if you want me to do another one of these because I will definitely do that for you. I hope you have a great day wherever you are, and I will see you very soon on another video. Goodbye.